Rev up your engines! Okay, so the ice is almost all melted, but your car's now covered with road salt they used to melt the ice on the road. There it is, getting ready to eat up your car. They cover the roads in the winter to keep ice from forming, but as you drive through it, that slush throws salt water all over your car. And it's not just what you see. Yeah, this is bad enough, but that's on wax surface, it's painted. Sure, you want to wash it off with some good car wash, rinse it all off and dry it, but rust is insidious. It will go and eat up any metal on your car. So you want to wash it off and then rinse it off. Now you can use a garden hose, but it's okay for rinsing, but you have to realize that a bunch of the salt water is going to be on all the parts, especially in the wheel wells, and more importantly, all under the car. Now, you don't care about this gas tank because it's made out of plastic, but all these metal parts are going to corrode, and you need to wash them, then rinse them. Now, I guess you could get a bucket full with soapy water, get sponges and rags, and try cleaning it, but there's an easier way, which actually works better, and that's the pressure washer. Here's my pressure washer. You start with the basics, the cleaner. You put a little bit of cleaner in, and then mix the rest with water. You don't need 100% cleaner, it's a mixture. And then pick the washing nozzle. This is the cleaning nozzle. We'll take that off. This system is good because it's got a whole bunch of them. We take the big one with a big opening, and we snap it in place, dispensing soapy water. Now start where rust is going to start. The salt gets in all the wheel wells. Even rinse the brakes off. Now eventually we'll clean the paint too, but we'll save that for last. And of course you want to do this on an ice cold car. This vehicle hasn't been started since yesterday. It sat all night, so there's no hot metal or anything. Then we go under the car and start spraying all the metal parts. Now the main thing to spray is any steel or iron based. They're going to rust the most, but the salt affects aluminum too, so you want to spray it on that. Now as for the bottom of the engine, the bottom of the transmission, that's solid metal. It's not going to really rust. If you're a clean freak, you can clean the bottom of them, but that's not that important. It's the steel and iron parts you want to rinse off. And that's why you want to do it when everything's cold, because the exhaust system is made out of steel, and it can really corrode. You want to rinse that off, but you can only do that when the engine is cold. And be sure to do all the wheel wells of all the tires. You want to spray any bare metal part, even the spare tire in this case. Might sound a little strange, but I've seen many old cars where the spare tire and its assembly were all rotted. When they needed the spare tire, it was broken, they couldn't get the rusted part off, and it didn't matter because the rim was all rotted away and the tire wouldn't even hold air. So you want to clean that too. Especially any of these heat shields. They're pretty thin. And then of course, you can do all the paint. Now you might say, Scotty, that's all nice and good for you. Tennessee there, you got power to plug into at the house. You got a garden hose. What if I don't have power or a hose? What can I do? Well, necessity is the mother of invention. Check it out. Everything is cordless these days. This is a portable battery. The entire pressure washer is self-contained. Here we go. Made in China, but it works quite well. All you need is a bucket of water. So we have no power, no water hose, we got a bucket, and away we go. And this one is cool because it's adjustable without changing the nozzle. And if you think about it, this would be great with squirt gun wars with your kids. You're gonna win. Now we can rinse it all off. This thing's got enough power to rinse the whole car. Even way back here, you just have to move the bucket. And don't forget to rinse all the wheels and underneath, especially underneath. Now luckily I live in Tennessee. People tell me it hasn't been like this in 50 years, and it's gone now, so odds are you don't have to do this very often. But if you live up north where it freezes, they put salt, it melts. Whenever it warms up, you want to rinse your car off like this so that it lasts and doesn't become one of those rotting hulks with all the steel crumbling when you touch it with your hand. So remember, even though salt is great on the lip of your margarita glass, it's not so great for your car. So when the weather is warm, wash it off, then rinse it off. And not just the parts you can see, like the painted areas, the parts you can't see. Inside the wheel wells, the brake system, the frame of the car. You don't want rust to start, because once rust starts, like Neil Young sang, rust never sleeps, and it will be insidiously eating up your vehicle. Now, I'm always giving away free information to everybody in the world. Today, I'm going to give away a free tool, too. I'm going to give away one of these Guanzin battery pack pressure washers. To have a chance to win, just place a clean, non-offensive comment on the YouTube comments below, and a winner will be chosen randomly by computer to get this cool battery pack pressure washer. It even has a little stand, just like the military have on theirs. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Kaizen says, SM Kilmer and Associates versus JD Power and Associates. After several months, seeing list after list, it's obvious that SM Kilmer and Associates would strongly disagree with JD Power and Associates. There are a few overlaps, but mostly it's divergent. Here's something I find hilarious. JD Power 2021 Vehicle Dependability Study from 2018 models. Most dependable model by JD Power. Porsche 911, compact car, Volkswagen Beetle. Yes, I can't help. I don't know. Are these people running a comedy routine? They're the most dependable model, Porsche 911. Those are the biggest money pits as they age. Somebody's got a real sense of humor there. And the compact car, Volkswagen Beetle. What rolling piles of junk those new Beetles were. They don't make them anymore. At least they don't sell them in the United States. They haven't for a few years now. They were terrible cars. Their dual clutch automatic transmissions would break and cost $5,000 to $7,000 to fix. They were terrible cars too. I don't know. It just amazes me, the nonsense. But of course, as I always said, JD Power is basically a PR firm, advertising company, right? So they don't believe anything. It's just like watching ads on TV and believing they're real, you know? Cars flying through the air, you know? I mean, there's so much fantasy involved in advertising. Now what? Chevy Bolt, their electric car, they're trying to advertise it with Star Wars flying next to them, you know? I mean, we've gotten to a level of absurdity. Really, if you think about it, JD Power was one of the companies that really started this absurdity of saying that, so like they said, Ram was the best one time. It just amazes me, the lies that people will propagate in the advertising world these days. Pofilo says, I'm looking at a 2009 Venza for $10,500. The sway bar was placed at 75,000 miles, and the steering camshaft a few months later, when I drove it, it was slightly out of alignment, and the steering wheel was off-center. Do you think it's going to have problems? Okay, here's the thing. They're asking a lot of money, $10,500, for a 12-year-old Venza. They're excellent cars. But at that price, tell them to get it fixed. Go to an alignment shop. Have them align it. If there's no serious problems with the car, they can realign it so that it doesn't have a problem out of alignment and the steering wheel will be centered. Any good alignment shop can center your steering wheel. It's called centering the steering wheel. They know how to adjust it so that it stays in the middle and isn't cockeyed to one side or the other. But at that price, it should be working fine. I wouldn't touch it that way. I'd say, hey, you're asking that kind of money? Take it to an alignment shop. If it all it needs is an alignment and to have the steering wheel recentered, it's only going to cost you $150 maybe or something like that. Do that before I buy it. And if they're not willing to do that, walk away. Who knows what kind of problems exist underneath. Never trust anybody when it comes to a problem. If they say it's just a little problem, say, good, you fix it, then I'll buy it. Because it might not be a little problem. If it is, they can fix it cheap and you buy it. If not, no, don't buy somebody else's problem. Brass 91 says, Scotty, I got a 91 Honda Civic hatchback, 5-speed manual tranny. I replaced the clutch flywheel, rear main seal throughout, bearing input shaft bearings. As it was making a noise when I accelerated, everything's installed. When I try to start it, the engine turns slow and knocks. Odds are one of two things went wrong, and even I've had this happen to me in the past. Odds are your clutch plate, the big pressure plate that bolts over, is the wrong size. And I've had that happen occasionally. And then when you bolt the transmission on, it's rubbing from where it's bolted to the engine to the front of the transmission, and it makes noises and it won't turn over because it's jammed in too tight. The other thing that can happen is you could have put the clutch in backwards. The clutch plate itself, under the entire clutch spring assembly, is the clutch disc itself. And that disc, unfortunately, can be put in backwards. It's supposed to fit in with the flat side towards the engine and the bumpy side towards the tranny. You could put it in the other way, but then it'll drag. Odds are, unfortunately, that's what's happening. You're going to pull the whole thing apart again. If you saved your old parts, what you want to do first is take the clutch disc off, pressure plate, put it on the ground, compare it to your old one. If you see your old one's this high and the new one's this high, sitting on the ground, that's it. They got you the wrong one. And odds are that's what it is, from my experience. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.